Shwmai, croeso, hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Bluebirds Nest. Another staff member joining me this week, and a man whose work behind the scenes has been integral to the growth of a key area of development at Haverfordwest County. Great to welcome our head of women's and girls football, Mr. Mikey Loveridge.
How are we doing, right? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have this opportunity to chat with you. You're a busy man, but I think as people can see, the club is like a second home to you. I think you've just finished your most recent session. You're still at the club, and you know it's pretty late at night here now. So appreciate your time sticking around to chat. It's it's a key area of the club's development and vision. Like I said, I've been speaking to lots of people about this, particularly I think during my chat with our vice chair, Marid Pemberton, about obviously how our brand new surface at the Oggy Bridge Meadow is allowing for this trajectory, I'll say, the positive development of the girls and women's game at the club now. There's so much to unpack. I've got lots of questions for you. Going back to your journey till, last summer, you'd worked closely with the club for a few months prior to that, initially in that partnership with your original organisation, Rising Stars, and then announced as head of women's and girls football. Let's kick it off with that big picture then. The rise of girls football at the club is something we're all really excited about. 7 months, I think I'm right in saying, since you've started your role. How did you get to that role then, Mikey? And what's it been like now in this last 7 months?
The last 7 months have been brilliant, to be honest. They couldn't have gone much better. And considering we've had the new pitch laid as well, you know, there's been some obstacles we've had to overcome, and we've still managed to have such an upward trajectory on the development of the girls team throughout the age group. So I honestly couldn't be more happy. The coaching staff behind the scenes, just everything's going as well as it possibly could have done, considering the obstacles we had to face, you know. I was with Rising Stars. That was like you said, that was my own organization. I was there for 12 months and started my own. Basically, I do some private one-to-one coaching.
Okay.
So in the summer, 12 months ago, I had a young girl come up to one of my sessions. I'd never coached a girl before in my life. And she came up to a session and she said she wanted to get better at football. So I started doing the one-to-one session with her, and she was unbelievable. She was such a good player. And I was thinking, oh my God, what a talented player she is. And I was speaking to her mum afterwards, and she was saying there was nothing around for girls, and she was really keen to play, but there was no way really to help develop it really, because she was a good player. She wanted to play at a higher level. So instantly then, I got home that night, bang, I was like, the fire was lit, you know?
Brilliant.
So, I literally that night I was putting plans in place to start the Rising Stars girls. So we just started with a few training sessions, and straight away I was getting a good amount of numbers in. So we started some teams, and again, it was just such a positive atmosphere. I think the girls having somebody that really believed in them and wanted to see that growth throughout the teams, you know. I could sense it in the atmosphere that they were excited, So yeah, over the months we just trained. We played a few games against local teams, and it was really, really positive. We entered the Johnstown tournament then at the end of that year with the under 12s and under 14s. We went up and played some Swansea-based teams, really good standard of girls, and we went and won both age groups. Honestly, to this day, it's one of the proudest days of my life. You know, they had the Rising Stars kit on. We won both age groups. They went and lifted the trophy up, and it was an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah.
So that kind of, I think, the positivity around the social media aspect and everyone kind of seeing what was happening, I think it obviously got Haverfordwest County. Then I was in here coaching with the boys, with the under 12s at the time. So I was chatting to people behind the scenes, and they basically said, would you transfer basically your Rising Stars girls over to Haverfordwest County? So that was a tough decision for me, because that was my baby. Again, my Rising Stars kit, everything. It was it was a tough decision. But when I sat down and thought about it, in all honesty, I thought with the plans that they had for the pitch, with, you know, the Bridge Meadow. Like, I used to play here as a junior player and a youth player myself. So I've always had that feeling that I was a professional when I played for Haverfordwest County. It sounds daft, but I felt like a professional when I played here. You got the clubhouse, you know, it's just everything. I could have been a bit selfish and thought I'll keep them at Rising Stars, but I thought for the progress of the girls and for like their development, it was 100% the right decision to bring them all here. And I think this is showing this season with, you know, we've gone all throughout Wales and we've beat teams throughout Wales and shown everyone how good girls from Pembrokeshire are.
Fair play. You can hear the passion and the drive in it. You know, you've obviously did it in your own organisation initially and then coming it across. And I think that's key. The relationship between the club and the local community across the whole club, the men's, the academy, the girls, everything is so important, I think. You know, especially when it comes to next generations of players. You need that carrot and that opportunity, like you say, the pitch and opportunities going to different counties to play tournaments and things like that. Tell us about then your role in the last 7 months. What partnerships or programs, initiatives have you been working on to you know, develop it even further?
So obviously just talking Haverfordwest County now, obviously the main goal was getting a philosophy across the coaches. So basically we've got all of the girls' age groups playing the same way. So for example, we had an under-13s girl step up recently to our under-14s squad. And it's just a seamless transition because she's playing exactly the same way in the 13s, centre-back, as she would for the 14s. So I think the key to this first 6 months really was building that. And I think it's starting to set in place now, and we're seeing that. We just played in a development centre festival up in Cardiff for the under-12s, and they won 4 games, drew 1 and lost 1. And you're talking about the highest standard there in Wales, you know? So, obviously getting coaches in place. We've got unbelievable coaches throughout the girls setup, which I couldn't be happier with them. Reese and Imi in the under-10s. Imi plays for Wales under-19s at the moment, you know? So what a role model for them young girls to look up to. And Reese is fantastic with the 10s. We got Leanne Jones. She runs Camrose at Grassroots. Yeah. So passionate about girls football, and you know, it's great to have her on board. And Martin Lewis, who coaches with the boys, B licensed coach, very, very good. They're a great partnership. And then we got Gaz Owens and myself then, who coach the older girls. And they're flying at the moment. So really happy with how things have gone in the first 7 months in terms of like how much they've developed over that time. Off the pitch then, I'd say it's been more about trying to get the grassroots participation levels higher. So I feel it's really important that we, like you said, as a community, we're not just kind of concentrating on Haverfordwest, we're also helping the local grassroots league, because that's ultimately going to help us in the long run as well. The more girls that are playing football, the more talent's going to come through, you know. So we've recently been into schools. I'm coaching girls only sessions in schools. So I'm doing that up in Haverfordwest High, and I've done one in Caerhelen. And also we're doing a lunchtime club in Prendergast School. So we normally separate them, girls and boys, and we get a load of girls playing in Prendergast School as well. But it's amazing, really, because there's some talented girls. I say to girls all the time in schools, they're like, "You're a great player. Who do you play for?" And she says, "Oh, I don't play for a team." Yeah. So I think that's the next challenge, really, is funny enough, I've emailed a lot of schools where I'm going to this week and trying to get a lot more girls into grassroots, because I bet it can rocket if it wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of positive momentum, you know, with it. You've outlined one of my questions, I suppose. The challenge of getting participation levels sort of transition into not just, you know, playing those lunchtime clubs and school opportunities, is getting the young girls, you know, to play on a weekend and play fixtures and things like that. You also mentioned challenges in the 6 months. Obviously, you haven't had a pitch really to play on. So how have you been overcoming that one?
We've literally played away for the last 6 months. And we're not just talking, we've gone to Connors Quay, which is a 4-hour drive. And I gotta say this as I'm on the point with Connors Quay. We went up there. I was getting emails all week saying, you know, they get girls from Liverpool in and Tranmere, and I'm not going to lie, I was thinking, oh, what are we going to face when we get up there? We went up there and won every game with every age group,
wow.
you know? And it's fantastic performances from them all. So obviously a 4-hour trip, you know, for me, I left in the morning and come back. So it was an 8-hour round trip.
Yeah.
It was so worth it. The girls performed so well. I was absolutely delighted. So we've travelled away for the last 6 months. And it was funny, actually, the other day I put our fixtures for the under-12s in the group. And there was 4 home games in a row. And somebody said, "Are you making the most of the home games?" You're right.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah. No, and that's the luxury that this artificial pitch is giving us now. Obviously, the Oggy Bridge Meadow. Excellent to see, you know. And I suppose that success will hopefully, you know, you'll get the benefits of hearsay and people talking about how well things are going. And you'd like to think the bandwagon almost, people get on board with it and more participation is involved. There's clear, I think, across the country is a real push to develop talent at every level. You see more grassroots clubs developing their girls sections all the way through to the senior ladies team as well. I think for me recently, I've seen how Britain Ferry Llansamel have done things. They seem to have really climbed the ladder. I think it's their first year, if I'm right in saying, in the Adran Premier, the Gennaro Adran Premier, the top level of women's football in Wales. Is that a similar pathway? You know, is that the end goal of getting a Bluebirds team in the top ladies division?
100%, yeah. I think I'll cry the day that happens. You know, that is the ultimate goal. To have a ladies team out there on the Bridge Meadow and competing at the highest level. That's the dream for me. You know, it's Britain Ferry, I have to say they're so good. The communication throughout all the age groups. I deal with Kev, who's in charge of their girls' academy there. And I think similar to what I was saying earlier, where the girls kind of all play the same way and that progression through the age groups, I think they're probably starting to see the benefits of that now, where the girl they've had their setup for a long time. And they've got girls' age groups throughout from under 8s up to 16s, and then they've got the development and the ladies. So you're just seeing that progression throughout the teams. Their ladies team will be brilliant in the future. We played their under 16s here on the weekend, and fantastic side. Like they're going to be a top team.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can kind of replicate what they've done and do exactly the same down on the Bridge Meadow, you know, that is the overall aim. I'll be delighted with that. Superb.
Well, looking closer to home, we've got Angara James, obviously the Welsh national team captain, currently playing in Seattle Reign, I think, across the water in the States. Born and bred in Haverfordwest. I know, I think her younger brother is an up-and-coming talent. I think he's been in the academy over the last couple of years as well. How much have you been able to showcase Angara as sort of a role model to players at the club, you know, being a local girl then?
Yeah, well, she obviously came down before Christmas. No, it was in between Christmas and New Year. And obviously, I feel quite bad because I've been pestering her a little bit to come in and see the girls. You know, I wanted them to meet her, and because she's a local girl as well. And to be fair, she said over Christmas she'd come down. She's got such a busy schedule. So for her to come, in her family time, but the girl's eyes lit up when she walked into the room. We had, I think it must have been 70 girls here that night, and the clubhouse was packed, and they all age groups got to ask her a question. She answered the questions unbelievably well. You know, you could hear from her voice how passionate she is about the game. And then she'd come out and watch. Well, she had a picture with them all, and then she'd come out and watch them training. Brilliant. And it was just like you just said, she's a local girl. It's proof in the pudding that you can make it. You know, she was born in Withybush. You know, she is as local come. Now she's captain of Wales. Yeah. So like I said, it's such an inspiration for the girls to be able to meet her, and I really hope from that night that they met her, they did take something away from that, and it's pushed them even more to achieve their dreams.
Yeah, definitely. I saw the photos of all the players meeting out. I didn't count them all, but I could see there was a ridiculous amount of photos. And fair play, she's had selfies with them all there.
Yeah, cheekbones must have been hurting after that.
And like you say, the inspiration, it can't be more close to home there with Angara being the national captain, obviously. And, you know, on the crest of a wave themselves, the ladies' national team. I think we'll have to get Angharad on for a chat in the near future, perhaps.
But we spoke on the pitch, and she was so impressed with everything that was going on. She said she wants to be a part of this in the future. So from now on, when she has breaks from America and she comes back, she wants to come and be involved. And what a compliment, that the captain of Wales wants to be involved because of what she's seen.
Yeah, so she's been on my long list of potential guests for a long time. So perhaps, we'll reach out to Angharad if you're watching. Open invite to come on the Bluebirds Nest. But you look right. They've qualified for the Euros now this summer, which is a phenomenal achievement for them. I genuinely think it's going to drastically impact the women's game in the landscape of it here in Wales, and I suppose across Europe as well. The growth of the Gennaro Adran Premier over the last few years, it's been evident to see the visibility of it, I suppose, and that's just about to blow up, I think, this summer even more so. Is that where you see it all going? Do you think?
Yeah, I agree, yeah. There was a stat I saw earlier that in when the Lionesses won the Euros in 2022, after that, there was a 56% increase in participation in female football players. There was a 88% increase in female coaches and 113% increase in female referees. So if we can get anything similar in Wales, regardless of how the girls perform, just being there, and like you said, the visibility of them being, representing Wales in the Euros, if we can get anything near that, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah, it's exciting. I suppose it for you in particular in your role, you've got the perfect platform to build upon. You've got the pitch, you've got that competition. It's just, getting them through the door, I suppose, and being able to facilitate it. It must be really exciting. And I'd be totally honest, up until the last few years, I'd not really seen much women's football. I suppose my first proper watch of a whole game was, you said, the England Lionesses victories and the finals that they got to. But I must say, Scorio have really put, again, the Gennaro Adran Premier, it's been really on the map. It's been caught my attention, I suppose. There's been more live games on S4C and on the online platforms that they put out. I think prior to that, my biggest involvement, and I've always had an eye on Fionn Bowen, who's from Narberth. I coached Fionn when she was about 6-7-year-old at the Swansea.
Claim to fame there, is it right?
Well, I've been watching Fionn for many years on her progress. She's making great moves through the Welsh age grades, but she was always a standout talent from a young age. Great family network around her supporting her. She never shirked a tackle with the boys. I always remember she was confident on the ball and off the ball with it. But I'd love to see her make it all the way to the national team. But, that's pretty much up until a point. That was the only involvement in girls' football I'd ever had. But like I said, the coverage now, games live on mainstream TV, it's a huge game changer. That's got to help things as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, like I said, I was at home last night and flicked the telly on and the Manchester derby was on. I am going to plug United won that 4-2.
Rub it in a little bit.
Yeah, it's nice. The amount of screen time the women are getting now is great, And like you said, it's only gonna help with the visibility for girls growing up and wanting to be like their heroes, So I like I said, I really think even now and after the Euros this summer, I can only see it going from strength to strength. To be honest, we are hoping to go out to Switzerland. We got a little group of us from Haverfordwest girls. We're hoping to go out and watch the Wales England game.
Ooh, fantastic! Before that, then looking ahead, let's sort of look at this two parts, short and long term. Pre-Euros, what's on the horizon, sort of for the rest of the season, then for you?
So the rest of the season, we're obviously just going to continue with the kind of trajectory we're going on now. We're going to keep training and developing the girls as best we can. We got fixtures coming thick and fast now. Obviously, now we've got the pitch. It's just limitless, really, with how many games we can host. So I'm constantly on the lookout for games. I put a post up yesterday, funny enough, asking for some local boys teams. So if there's any local boys teams, I think it's under 8s, under 10s, 12s, 13s. If you can send me an email, it's m.loveridge@hcafc.football. And then we can get a fixture arranged. I think the Pembrokeshire League, if I'm right, it stops in a couple of months. So obviously we've got a few months here where the boys teams locally will have no games. So we're more than welcome to kind of get the girls some games, and we'll prove more people right that the girls can play football, you know. What I was saying to you earlier, that, you know, on New Year's Day, we hosted 3 local boys teams, and I think we won 1, we drew 1 and lost 1. But every coach came up to me at the end and shook my hand and said, fair play, the girls are unbelievable. And like, this is what I want to kind of get across, especially locally, you know. We got some really, really talented girls locally, and just being able to show that to local clubs, and hopefully it'll get the support as well from locals that'll really get behind our local girls, because they're so talented. They can go, you know, hopefully go off and maybe play for Wales themselves one day. And we need that support locally, you know, really pushing them, because they deserve it, because they're brilliant.
I'm going to rephrase my next question now, then. Long term, the goals are to get a couple of Welsh internationals through Haverfordwest and into the national team. What's the medium term goals then? What are the sort of milestones you've got in your role in terms of whether it be player development, performance in leagues, or even the community impact?
Yeah, well, hopefully, obviously the women's team is the massive one. So we got a meeting with the FAW soon. And to be honest, with however that meeting goes will determine how quick we get our women's team, right. You know, so we got to wait till we have that. But that could be medium, it could be long. I'm not so sure yet. But yeah, in the community, keep going out to schools. Just like I said, we just want to up the participation levels as much as we can. You know, I think with the Wales and the Euros is going to help. But if we can push things as a club as much as we can as well, we're going around schools all the time. So the more girls that we can get involved and kind of spread the message of get girls involved in football. You don't have to be unbelievably talented. I say this when I talk to people about boys football, when, you know, some people think girls can't play football, but there are some boys that can't play football as well. Right. Everyone starts from the same, you know. You got amateur players, you got players that are high level players, girls and boys. So we all start somewhere, you know. Yeah, and just keep going the way we are, really. I think everything's going so positive. I think we just got to keep it going and keep driving. Performance levels on the pitch, obviously, we're developing the teams. We touched on it earlier with Britain Ferry. They're a setup that have been together for quite a long time, where we've really only been together for 7 months. So we just got to keep developing the teams and driving the standards high. We got 3 girls at the minute in the FAW system in the South Academy. Okay. From our under 12s. So if we can get more girls into that system in the future, that'll be great. As much as I'd love them to be at Haverfordwest County, because they're unbelievable, you know, if we can see a few of these girls in the future playing for Wales and knowing that we've been a part of their journey, it'll be unbelievable, you know. So yeah, there's a few things in there.
Brilliant. Well, you're going to be busy over the next few months. You're sat in the clubhouse, obviously, there now. I'm just thinking, I'd like to see that. Well, I'd like to think it's going to be rammed in there when those women's national team games are on across the summer. I think they'll be queuing out the door, the girls and the ladies coming in to watch the live games there. I'm sure it'd be a hub of action watching those. Mikey, it's been a pleasure to chat to you, mate. I'm really impressed with how things are going. I knew it was going well, but you've outlined some things there and plans that are really exciting for the club going forward. Thank you for the time. I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot more from you and all the teams in the near future as we continue to push forward. To everyone listening, if you want to stay up to date with the latest news, you've obviously got his email address. But any more information, please feel free to reach out to Mikey. As you can see, he's the most passionate man about it, and he's taking things forward on behalf of the club. So again, Mikey, thank you for this, mate. I'm looking forward to this growth. And who knows, in the not too distant future, we could be hosting our own live games on the telly, perhaps with Haverfordwest players on the screen as well.
That's the dream, mate. That's the dream.
Cheers, Mikey.
Thanks for having me, Ryan, mate.